Welcome back for a new sales history video. Of course, this is Goku Sun DBZ. I'll try to do this as quick as possible, though it's gonna be an okay length. This is the sales history for the Kingdom Hearts series. So with that said, first up, we start with KH1. Released on the PlayStation 2 in 2002, with an overall average critic score of an 8.5. The original Kingdom Hearts would sell at around 6.3 million copies. That's a heck of a way to start out the sales of a franchise. That is a really good deal, in my opinion. Unfortunately, they would not see a surpass of the original Kingdom Hearts in sales for a while, though still sold very good. Next, we would get Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories, originally released in 2004 for the Game Boy Advance. It would get an average critic score of a 7.4 with a sales of 1.6 million copies, which is not bad, at least for Game Boy Advance sales numbers. It's actually pretty solid. Not bad. I've only played a very little bit of the original Advance version, and it's not bad. I mean, for like a standard, like 16-bit era type of game, it's pretty solid. With that said, next we will travel to 2008, which would see two games get released. The first, Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories, with an average critic score of a 7.2, and of course it'd be the PS2 version, a complete beginning to end, complete rehaul of the original Chain of Memories for PS2 graphics. It would end up selling a decent amount less than the original version. It ended up selling at around an estimated 870,000 copies. Not necessarily too bad, but versus the other Kingdom Hearts games so far, 870,000 is not impressive, almost half of what the original Chain of Memories for Advance was. Also in 2008, for PS2, we would see the release of course, Kingdom Hearts 2, in my opinion, the most overrated of the Kingdom Hearts series, though I still love it. It's still my favorites. I just feel people hold it a little too high. With that said, it got an average critic score of an 8.3, and overall, it would sell at around 5.2 million copies, which is a drastic increase versus the last two, but with that said, it would still end up selling almost a million less than the original Kingdom Hearts. Then we would see released, and also I want to mention, released in 2002 for PS2, but exclusively only released in Japan, Kingdom Hearts Final Mix, which would sell around an estimated 550,000 copies. Quite impressive, over 500,000, given it was released only in Japan. Also, we would see in 2000, several years later, we would end up seeing another Japanese exclusive release for Kingdom Hearts Final Mix 2. And it got average critic score of a 9.4, and it sold around 260,000 copies. Not bad, pretty good overall. Not great, but it is basically a remaster, so... Next, we wait until 2009 for the Nintendo DS. And that would be the release of Kingdom Hearts 358 over 2 days, which had you, of course, play as Roxas. It got an average critic score of 7.5, not quite as great, but quite a few fans, including myself, hold a special place for this game. It would end up selling around 1.7 million copies, which is not bad for, of course, another handheld game. And in my opinion, is definitely way better than, of course, the previous, though that was Advance versus DS. So Magi, definitely a big difference in graphics. Next, we see the release in 2011, again on the Nintendo DS, Kingdom Hearts Recoded. With an average critic score of a 6.8, and to be fair, is one of my least favorites. Recoded would end up selling around 930,000 copies, so barely shy of the 1 million mark. Still sold okay. Then we would see the PSP game released in 2010, technically a year prior, with an overall critic score on average of 7.9. This is my personal favorite of the Kingdom Hearts series, and that is Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep, which sold around an estimated 1.7 million copies, which sold pretty good, I would say. It's one of the best-selling PSP games. Also, we would see then in 2011, 1 year later, strictly released in Japan again, we would see the release of Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep Final Mix, which I did import a copy from Japan. It got an average critic score of a 9.5, the highest critic score, I might add. It sold around 160,000 copies, and is amazing with all the different secret boss fights you have in that game. Next, we would not see another release until 2013, with an average critic score of 8.0. Released on the PS3, that would be Kingdom Hearts 1.5 HD, which sold around an estimated 1.6 million copies, which is pretty dang good for just an HD remaster. Also, we would see next, 1 year later, also for the PS3, released in 2014 with an average critic score of a 9 out of 10. That being, of course, Kingdom Hearts 2.5 HD. And which I'm very partial to that collection myself because of having Birth by Sleep Final Mix and KH2 Final Mix. Then we would see in 2012, go back a year technically prior, release on the Nintendo 3DS, we would get the release with an average critic score of a 7.5, Kingdom Hearts 3D, Dream Drop Distance, with ended up selling around an estimated 1.3 million copies, which is definitely very solid, very well done, I might add. Then we would see the release originally exclusively to the PS4 with an average critic score of 8.7, which would be the double pack together, Kingdom Hearts 1.5/2.5. That would end up selling around 1.8 million copies, which is definitely quite impressive. Then we would see the release in 2017, Kingdom Hearts 2.8, which of course included back cover, cinematic film, and would also include a demo of course, Birth by Sleep, 0.2, a fragmented passage, and of course, Dream Drop Distance Remastered. It would get a 7.6 critic score and would end up selling around 1.3 million copies, which is pretty good sales once again for a remaster. Next, we wait in 2019, of course, for the release of Kingdom Hearts 3, which got an average critic score, depending on the console. The Xbox One version got a 7 out of 10 on average, and the PlayStation version got on average an 8 out of 10. It, according to most recent sales numbers, of course, this game would get released on both Xbox One and PS4. Most recent sales numbers show it is hovering close to 9 million copies sold, which makes it now the first game to actually surpass Kingdom Hearts 1 in sales, and by a pretty decent margin at that. So Kingdom Hearts 3 is arguably the most successful in the franchise so far. Plus, we don't know how well the Remind DLC has sold. Plus, for the first time ever, it is also coming to PC, to the Epic Store. So that should be interesting. But with that said, that is just a brief synopsis slash a little bit sales history of the Kingdom Hearts series. I wanted to make it relatively quick compared to otherwise. With that said, a future game sales history video I'll be working on in the near future will be one on the Halo franchise. So stay tuned for that. Also, I'm going to be working on best to worst list ranking the Halo games as well. So stay tuned for that, and I'll see y'all next time. Same YouTube time, same YouTube channel. Hopefully you enjoyed the music in the background from Dream Drop Distance, from the Grid, Tron Legacy World. Let's see you soon enough.